Alright, so the Victoria 3 Hot Cinnamon Spice patch is finally out, and it does add a lot of features and quality of life upgrades. A couple are, for example, the economy rework that just makes everything feel a bit more tighter than used to. A brand new construction system allows you to have government upgrades, all the essentials, as well as a private construction queue that works in parallel, and that is fully financed except for the labor costs by the investment pool, which just allow you to have much more construction sectors than you would normally be able to have with a similar economy that you're running. And if you don't like that, you can either turn off the option, or once you get later in the game, you can just go and review the economic systems. If you want more private industries, just go with laissez-faire, or more probably called laissez-faire. Or maybe you want to go with the cooperative ownership or common economy, which will just remove entirely the investment pool. Or you can just turn it off in the option when you create the game, but you should appreciate a little bit more randomness in your game. It makes it feel less dull. Now, the GDP calculations have also been reworked in the game, making it increase less exponentially. The main change was that now, when you go into your business, if you look at the output of a textile mill, it seems like it's very, very rich. But it forgot to account for something, right? It was putting out GDP 300k for just that stuff here, while in truth you have 100k that is expenses that you will have to pay to get all that money. So now, rather than be worth 300k in the GDP, this is just worth 125k in the GDP, which makes it less explosive in growth as you expand and build your industry. There are also a couple of rework in the trade routes, and first of all, the interface rework is remarkable. You can all see the routes you have towards how much they make, how much they don't make. All of that is extremely interesting. It gives you a much clearer view of what is your economic situation of your market, rather than going through every single good one by one, expanding like you had to do in patch 1.1. The highlights are also very interesting because they give you quick access to the garbage routes you have, like all these inactive routes that you're not making any money on that, and all these unproductive routes you're actually losing money on wage trying to import garbage from very garbage countries because you don't really clean your routes so often. But now, with the quality of life improvements, it just feels better to be managing the routes, much more natural. Another beneficial thing is inside the markets. Now, each partner will also be able to have their trade routes. Well, they were able to before, but I believe it was a bit finicky in how it was distributing the GDP impact of these trade routes. Now, if you go into every trades, you'll see that different nations are trading with your market, and sometimes these routes are managed by members. Let's just take the British Raj because I'm pretty sure they have some kind of trade. We can go and look at their trade centers, and these are managing a trading route between Austria for fine arts and Italy for food. So this worth, I think, from what I understand, used to go to the overlord of the market. Now that GDP actually goes to the country conducting the trade, which makes it maybe a bit richer than it should be. I don't know what happened here. Well, I guess they weren't the British Raj. They were, but I don't know why it started as the British Raj. But there used to be the East India Company. It's strange sometimes, this game. Another beneficial upgrades we've had from Hot Cinnamon Spice is the ability to now queue different researches. So now I'm working on pneumatic tools, but maybe, after there's one tech I really want to find before anybody else, and I just, add it to the queue and then add the other to the queue. So I don't even have to have any requirement of having a brain and having a lot of other things. I think I'm having too much having. But you see, it actually just feels good, the technology research will go smoothly according to your own plans. And if you don't like it, you just, come and cancel everything. And no harm's done. The game also adds, and I started this game very early in the patch, so I don't think it actually happened in that game, but you'd have new events between Russia and the Qing Empire, allowing them to fight over the territory. Now Japan, Western Australia, and I believe Eastern or New South Wales or whatever, now also start with some colonial policies, allowing them to colonize the little islands in their area. And one thing's weird is they change how colonies work, so for some reason I cannot colonize here. So the Japanese are claiming these islands, so maybe I could beat them up or revoke their claims and then colonize, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel too natural to me in this patch yet, but I will see in the future. One great thing though that was added is that you're now able to add different war goals. Well, not in this case because I'm attacking my puppet. I cannot showcase it to you. It allows you to add new war goals which you can then state as primary claims, and these will be forcibly forfeited if they step down before the war. So, right here, like magic, Brazil jumping in the defense of Nova Scotia. Alright, let's see. Add war goal. Let's, do you have anything to liberate here? Amazonia. I don't know why you have 2 Amazonias to liberate. But let's get Grau-Para out of you. And, well, I can't actually add it to February because I don't know. But you see that now you have the option to lock it in for the war. Another great upgrade for the military side is that you will now be able to hire new generals and admirals, and rather than only have one choice, you will be able to select between 3 generals, allowing you, more variety in the different interest groups they're part or just their respective qualities as individual commanders. And finally, another great innovation that was brought in with this patch is you're now able to force strategic objective, which will make your general beeline to that location from wherever they're going from the start. And another useful rebalancement that they've made, if you are using first aid as medical aid for your soldiers, you don't need opium anymore. You just need liquor and clothes. While using field hospital, you will need, in addition to that liquor and clothes, tools and opium. Any secondary support unit change you'll make will actually add a 20% debuff on the actual combat efficiency of your troops. Only 10%. Alright, well that's actually very good. Only a 10% secondary equipment adjustment penalty, and I believe a 90% if you change the primary production method of each individual unit. So these are definitely interesting changes that have been brought in by the patch 1.2. I feel like the combat is more fair to the player at the moment, and truly there has been a ton of order fixes and patches in this 1.2. I recommend you actually go and scroll down the entire changelog just to give you an idea of the size of a free patch we're getting for Victoria 3 barely 5 months after release. It's evident now that the work on the warfare aspect of the game was mostly centered around minor improvements, seeking small gains to make the game better, compared to the actual changes to the political and economy running mechanism behind the entire rest of the game. But I think it bodes well if you're like me and believe that the first V3 DLC will actually be a substantial warfare rework. So it makes me believe we're heading for a Black Peppercorn Spice type of DLC. Here are a couple of upgrades I'd like to see for a warfare DLC. First is, let's take a look at the situation here. Let's say right here I want to take Montreal from Nova Scotia. I would just designate as an objective and actually just target the entire thing. And through it, I don't think I would want my army to push through the mountains as a primary objective. So I would remove that and I will add it here, which makes it, a more sensible offensive choice for my armies. I'm not stupid though. I'm not gonna just attack in the cold and in the mountains here. That's just so stupid. But what I would like to see is the ability to draw arrows. I would tell my units, go to this city, follow this road, take Montreal, and move out and whatever, capture the rest. I don't want you to actually fight in the mountains. I want you to capture Montreal and then Sherbrooke and Quebec. And then, the enemy will be forced to surrender. They could not just hold onto the mountains for 1,000 years. They just die after a couple months, worst case. It's just not possible with strategic objectives we have right now. Another thing I think is critical for the success of, any next military rework in the game is to be able to, from the general screen, to modify your army. So let's make an hypothetical situation. Let's say I just finished researching trench troops. You can see that it gives very good stats and better moral loss than skirmish infantry. It also reduces the amount of captured province and provinces, but increase the amount of provinces lost you will suffer, which makes it a pick and choose. If you want an offensive army, yeah, they're good, but the province captured loss just doesn't make sense. You'd want combined trench infantry with different add-ons also, because if we look into the different methods of moving, you don't need more captured provinces if you have trench infantry, but you could use the trench infantry with chemical weapons specialists, which also reduce the amount of captured provinces. But this just increased the kill rate to an incredible amount. Or maybe you want them with flamethrower companies, which gives you a very good killing rate also. But to do this right now, you would need to go through the barracks and go into each individual provinces and just set the infantry type you want, which is not too natural. If we could do it from the general screen here, and while yes, we can do it from here, it's very tedious to do. But if we had a button right here that we could click, that would open just like that, allowing us to change this entire general composition, and then you can lock that so there's nothing that can change it. That would be very beneficial. You could have generals that are dedicated for defense with better troops that are less expensive to maintain but gives you a fair amount of defense, just like trench infantry. Another thing I think would be an exceptional upgrade to have in a warfare focused Black Peppercorn patch style, a reorganization in the outliner of the generals. So rather than have them by size, they would actually be separated by different HQs. So each general would be in a specific HQ, and then we would be able to move one general to another HQ. But if, for example, I take my generals that are in North China and I mobilize them to go attack somebody in Canada, but I would pay for the extra maintenance of sending the unit there, but also the convoy cost of doing that supply run for my troops. And this would also be possible while you have front, but also if I had no front right now, it will be peaceful time, but I want my permanent Chinese army stationed in Canada, I could do so at the cost of maintaining the convoy requirements and the increased prices you have to pay for goods and labor to make them stay away from their home region. And finally, another thing that I believe would be essential to see into Victoria 3, have a way to pacifically annex anybody. Let's take an example here, right? So Dainam is my protectorate, which is fine and dandy. But if I want to actually, paint the map and have them my color, what do I have to do? Well, first, I would need to rapidly expel the diplomats and begin damaging relationships. Once we get in negative standings and no longer like cordial and amicable, once that turns out to like, I don't know, hostile, then we can actually launch a puppet this Dainam guy. And after 5 years truce, we can finally send a annex diploblade to actually annex the country. But if we want just them as puppet, it's one play. Why is there no like peaceful way to transform Dainam into an actual dominion? Maybe dominion could be very nice way to diplomatically annex different people into your empire. But the game's lacking at that level. Another thing that's really funny that I just realized now is I'm on economic dominance quest, but I'm still at lowering consumption price, which is something you should not be doing in 1887. You should be doing that like in 1839. But because I have the private building stuff, I'm actually never able to get the cost of my goods low enough to complete the objective. So let's do that together. So we need coal, steel, and iron to be at minus 20%. And one nice feature we have is to actually press Ctrl B and it just pauses construction. So now let's observe the change on the cost of my goods. Let's see how much I'm saving. I'm not even sure that will reach 20%. I'm making a lot of money not paying that construction right now. But yeah, definitely I don't push down my consumption price to complete this objective. So I might actually fail. And it would be crazy, but I might actually fail the economic domination as the United Kingdom because I'm not able to get my iron, coal, and steel 20% then base price. And that's almost pathetic when you realize I already conquered like half of what's valuable in China and next almost the entirety of Canada, and split up the United States in United States of America, Michigan, New England, and New Africa. Also tried to save the CSA when it's pound, but it was like one country right here, just this little Arkansas. But that's pretty much it for what I'm looking for in a Victoria 3 Warfare DLC patch. And hopefully we'll get it, it will make the game feel much better after such change. Well, yeah, I just spoke about how messed up America is, and wow, look at that. Hey, I gotta defend my boys here. So Brazil, France, and Indian territory are fighting against the American capitalist revolt. Guess who needs some support right here, buddy? I actually just need to finance them, I mean. They have way more troops. I don't think France or Brazil's gonna change the game. I don't even think I need to join in the fray myself. That's how it feels to be the king of the world. That the American capitalist revolt are crushing the Americans. It's gonna be a slaughterhouse. Oh, France trying to land in. Oh my god. Oh no, they're defending. They're defending DC. It's gonna be incredible to see. Who will be winning? The 39 offense American Revolutionary Capitalist Army, or the French defending DC with 117 defense? I don't know. It's a bit scary, right? But I think, I think the American will win. Yeah, I think it's definitive now. The American will win. Was quite mesmerizing to watch, though. All right. So thank you for watching, and make sure to drop a like and a comment for more. See you next time.